Oh, good morning from Springfield, Missouri. I'm going to be going to the rental shop, or rental store, I guess, and they've got an exchange ready for me. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the car, because I will be handing over the Mustang. Now, what I'd arranged was for a V6 Mustang, and what they provided was the 2.3 EcoBoost, the economy model. Now, you might think that's a small difference, doesn't really matter. It's a Ford Mustang, it's a convertible, nice car. I wanted to talk a little bit about my experience over the last few days of driving this car. This trip for me is about, real America. And it might seem strange down 66 with all the tourist traps and one of the sort of over-Americana, as it were. But, I don't have to indulge in all that if I don't want to. I go as far into that as I can. But like my examples, I saw Nauvoo, the real Americans, living, in a way that I would never want to live, but they're very nice people. And then yesterday, St. Louis as well, meeting up with rather unexpectedly meeting up with some real Americans and doing that. Doing St. Louis with those guys. And the car, you guys back home in Britain, if you're watching from Britain, you probably know all about, the whole Americans drive really huge, uneconomical pickups and SUVs and things like that. That stereotype is very real. It exists here. That's what people drive, Not everyone, but there's a huge number of absolutely massive pickups and other vehicles that just, you'd never be able to drive those in the UK. There'd just be nowhere to park them, and all the fuel would be so expensive, it would make it completely impractical. So with the economy model of the Mustang, I'm not getting the real experience. I want to understand why these people want to drive cars like this, and I get some of it from the type of roads that I've been driving on. Huge wide roads. Every junction has very wide lanes and very easy to turn, so you don't get into problems where you get stuck very often. But that's really why I want to try and drive a V6. It's not going to be a V8. Unfortunately, they're not easily available as rental cars. You can understand the rental companies would want to kind of stay on the side of economy. That makes a lot of sense. And the car itself, I drive a fairly new VW back at home. It's a small car, but it hasn't disappointed me because it's down to German build quality. Everything works, everything's in the right place. With the Mustang, I have been struggling with the automatic gearbox. It's a paddle shift gearbox. It doesn't have double clutch, so I want to use it like a manual. Basically, I want to change gear when I think it's right to change gear, not when the car does. Excuse me. So I get into problems where the car thinks it wants to be in a certain gear, and you end up doing ridiculous revs at 25 miles an hour. So I can take control of that, but the gear shift has a huge delay. Now, I've driven the automatic Golf. My one's a manual, but I've driven the Auto Golf, and it has a DSG box. The DSG box is very good. It's extremely quick, double clutch. You press it and you change gear, and that's it. End of story. Unfortunately, the Mustang has the whole, the jerkiness problem with it. So you end up, you swap gear, and then the car will suddenly decide to swap gear about half a second later, and can leave you a little bit surprised, to say the least. It's a 4-cylinder, 2.3 litre turbo engine. Puts out enough power. It's a very powerful car, but like I alluded to before, the steering is awful. There's too much dead zone in the middle. It feels very inaccurate. And I was doing some night driving last night. The interstate that I was driving along, I-44, was 2 lanes, and quite often you come across very large trucks in the right lane, so you want to overtake them in the left lane. And these trucks, the issue with America, obviously everybody drives really quickly, including the trucks. So speed limit 70 miles an hour. On this particular road, these trucks are doing 67, 68 maybe. So if you were to do 70, you would spend 5 minutes passing them before you had to put a safe distance. And these trucks, been on the road a long time. It's not an excuse for these guys because they should be paying attention, but they're weaving. They're weaving really, really close to the lane that I want to be in to overtake, and then back to the other side. It's not good. It's really not good. So my strategy was basically to just burn past them as quickly as possible. Within reason, obviously, but just get past them. And it made it difficult to do that in the Mustang because the steering's so inaccurate. You can't make fine adjustments very easily because you don't know where that dead zone ends. Disappointed with that. And just the build quality in general is really bad. I mean, I say really bad, it's still a nice car. I'm sure it's it's certainly been very comfortable to drive. You'd expect that for an American car. Even the cup holders are absolutely huge in this car. But you can't rely on it. You can't point it where you want to go and expect it to go that way. It's designed for 90-degree corners and straight lines. And I think that might well be reflected in all of the American cars. So, to bring that to a close, electronically it's very good. It has a lot of gauges, a lot of dials. It has cruise control. It has lots of features. The radios, the touchscreen is not great. I had issues with Bluetooth sync. Doesn't seem to want to stay connected. There's major volume differences. It nags you all the time. I think it tends to be the American style to remind you of various things. If you get in a car with the handbrake on, why would you not put the handbrake on? I don't understand. If you get in the car with the handbrake on, it will ping at you until you take the handbrake off. Fair enough. Could get used to those things. These are our minor complaints, but definitely wouldn't be looking to make a trade back home. Just would not suit British roads whatsoever. So with all that out of the way, I'm going to go head down to the rental place and then swap it out. Pick up a Camaro. Have to report back on how that goes.